My name's Janine Regan-Sinclair, and this is an impromptu live at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. And I'm known as the Consciousness Architect, if you haven't come across me before. And I'd like to just share a bit of information with you tonight about what's happening on the planet at the moment, in case you're not aware of it. Our world is a changing place, and it's changing rapidly, more than ever. And we're all a part of that change. You may or may not be aware of the outside world around you is a projection of your consciousness, and it's a projection of the mass consciousness of all of us. So what does that mean? Well, it means that what we've got going on inside us, in our hearts, in our minds, in our DNA, in our energy field, is projected into the world around us. And everything we've ever experienced in this lifetime or previous lifetimes, or what our ancestors have been through, that's all in our system. It's a bit like software in the computer. And what's happening at the moment is that this is an opportunity for us to change the outside world by changing ourselves. That means that we need to go within, we need to look at our trauma, our addictions, we need to look at how we're taking care of our bodies, what we're eating, how much rest we're getting, how much exercise we get, and all of these things are making a big difference. The world around us mirrors back to us what we've got going on in our systems, what we believe, what we've inherited. All of it is like software in a computer system that projects into the world around us a holographic experience that we perceive to be solid and real because of our perception of our senses. Sight, hearing, sense, touch, smell, all of it. If you take all of those away, you're just left with consciousness. You're left with what we call the void or no mind. Awareness, but not an expression of it, not a feeling of it, just a conscious awareness. So, what can you do to make a difference in your world? Well, firstly, it's about taking care of yourself. It's not about selfishness. When you take care of you and you're in a good space, that projects into the world around you. Your family, your friends, your work colleagues, everyone is affected by the way you are, the way you feel, the way you behave, the way you think, your belief systems, all of it. So taking care of you is really important because you're the core of your reality experience. So that means getting good sleep, exercise, eating well, keeping things like alcohol down to a minimum, sugar, coffee, all of these things that are not so good for us. And I realise, we're here to have an experience and some of those things can be fun, but it's about being careful with it, that's all. Because when you start taking care of you, when you start to learn things like meditation, which is taking care of your spirit, there's a lot of mind-body connection stuff going on in the world, but we are actually mind, body, spirit. So it's important that we take care of that side of us. When you start doing that, the world around you starts to change. Because all of these things affect your vibrational frequency. That's like a wave on a graph. So slow waves or high waves. But the higher the waves get, the purer we get, the happier we get, the outside world starts to change. You start to notice people being more friendly, more smiley. I've really noticed a massive difference in the world around me with things like the lack of homelessness and people just being kinder to one another. it just seems brighter out there. Even the trees and the flowers look different. They look more effervescent because of the energy. So if you're looking at your world, what's going on in your world, and you'd like to change it, those changes are going to have to come from within you. That means looking at your ancestral lineage, looking at your past, and realizing that we've all been through trauma. Our ancestors have been through trauma, and all of this stuff is stuck in our systems unless it's been dealt with properly. And those frequencies are what's creating the world around us. So we are the software in the machine of the reality that we experience. It's not about going out there and changing out there, it's about going within and changing things within. Yes, we can do things in the outside world to help. But if we don't change the programming that's inside our own consciousness, whatever we change on the outside is going to be short-lived. It's not going to be a permanent change. So learning to go within, learning to be honest with ourselves, learning to deal with our emotions and our feelings and what's happened to us in the past instead of just pushing it down and hoping it'll go away is really critical. We're in the middle of a massive sun cycle at the moment, and what that does on a collective level is changing the world, and 60% historical change is happening at the moment. You only need to look at what's going on out there to see that there's change happening and new surprises every day. But the more we raise our frequency, the more the world outside is going to change for the better. And just like anything that is healing or growing or evolving, sometimes it can get messy out there. And this is why it's important to learn how to meditate. Because we spend most of our time either at work, at school, at college, going to the gym, looking after our families, doing stuff. But we don't spend enough time taking care of our spirit, being in nature, being quiet, closing our eyes and just being. That's what feeds our spirit. And if you look at the world around us and how much depression and anxiety and mental health issues there are out there, I believe a lot of it is down to the lack of attention to our spirit, our soul. And that's where meditation comes in. I don't teach meditation. I run a group that meditates on my Patreon channel. But it's not something I teach. So I'm not selling anything along those lines. There are other things on my website. If you care to take a look, there's links below. But this isn't about sales pitch. I can help people with lots of other things. But if this is resonating with you, you're going to go and have a look at my website anyway. So think about what's going on in your life, what you're seeing in the world. And is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? Does it bother you? Do you have an opinion on it? Is there something that you would like to do to change it? Then this is the time to be doing it. Because the energies that are coming in through the planetary alignments are giving us the fuel, the energetic fuel to make changes to not only ourselves, but to everything and everyone. Because when we change, everything and everyone changes. And it may be just a little bit at a time. But the more of us that come together, the more of us that level up, the more of us that meditate, heal ourselves, lay off the booze, the cigarettes, maybe the drugs, sex, gaming, porn, whatever it is that's lowering you from who you truly are. These things need to be cast aside. You are a very, very powerful spiritual being in a physical vessel, having a physical experience. Most of you have no idea how powerful you really are. But when we come together, that is just such a tidal wave of energy that spreads around the whole planet and affects everyone, not just the people. It affects the plants, Mother Earth, the animals, the ocean, the air. Everything is affected by our frequency. So now is the time to take stock. Take stock of how we're living our lives. Are we taking care of our bodies? Are we poisoning our bodies? Are we getting enough sleep and enough exercise? Are we letting go of our judgments and our opinions and anything else inside us that needs to be improved? Are we holding on to stuff that we didn't even know was there, that we've inherited from our ancestors, like racism, for example? A massive problem still on this planet. Not talked about enough. People are too frightened. This stuff has gone on and on for generations. Everything our ancestors have experienced, we've got memories of that in our DNA, in our programming. But it can be changed. When we go in through healing and meditation, through guided imaging, the kind of practices that I do and offer as services, we can change our past memories and turn them into something beautiful. They can be redesigned into something blissful and positive. And the reason that's so important is because all of those things are projected into our reality. So if you're looking at the world and you're seeing war-torn stuff or greed, manipulation, corruption, all of this other stuff, materialism is one of the biggest problems on the planet, then it's a projection of what's in your consciousness and other people's consciousness. And only we can change it. There is no saviour coming to save people. We are our own saviours. And if you truly can get a grip of the fact that you are the core of your reality experience, your consciousness is the software, the programs that are making the outside world appear to be the way it is, then that puts you in a really powerful position to be able to change it. But you have to decide that you want to do that. Do you intend to change the world by changing yourself? Yes or no? Because once you've set that intention, you've started the ball rolling. And you don't have to climb Mount Everest and sit and meditate on the top of it or anything silly like that. You can meditate anytime, any place, anywhere. Obviously, it's best not done when you're driving on the freeway or something, but you do go into a level of consciousness that is very relaxed when you're driving long distances. But even just taking 5 or 10 minutes of your day, just to sit quiet, close your eyes and go into your heart centre and just be, is making a difference. Because that quiet, silent space is where everything was created. Everything was created in the void of darkness. When the plus and minus came together and the spark of source began. And just taking a few minutes every day to just be quiet is all it takes to start the ball rolling of the changes. Owning what you see in the world as well. If you're seeing stuff that bothers you, makes you angry, you have an opinion on it, or upsets you, then it's in you. We see the world as we are, not as it is. That's why we put 100 people in front of a movie and ask them all to write a page about what that movie expressed to them or how it made them feel. You'd get 100 different answers because everyone's going to be viewing it from their level of perception, from their belief systems, from their hurts, from their judgments, for what they've been taught by their parents, teachers, peers, ancestors. We've all got different stuff going on. But the collective is what's creating the overall appearance of the world around us. And the good news is we don't need 7.8 billion people to start meditating every day to make a difference. We don't need many at all. Less than 10,000. If less than 10,000 people meditated at the same time and did their healing work and got rid of their addictions and their traumas, you'd be absolutely shocked at how the world outside would appear to you the next day. If 1 million of us meditated together, we could change the world in a minute. That's how powerful we are. This information has been hidden from us for a long time. But more and more people are sharing it now. Over the last few decades, more and more people are helping us all wake up to the fact that we are all particles of God, of one, of Supreme Being, of Creator. Call it what you will. I prefer the term one because it's about unity and it overrides all the religious names. So many people using the word God, but God means different things to different people, different religions. But one is one. And we're all one. Every single one of us is a piece of God, one Creator, having an experience in a physical. It's a bit like a simulator reflection of what we've got going on within us, with other souls coming in to play their roles. It's like we're all in this big movie, just working through our karma, working through our lessons, learning, evolving, experiencing, loving. All of these things are part of being human. And it's a very, very special time and place to be on Earth at the moment. There were changes talked about before 2012, the end of the world. December 21st, 2012. Everyone was talking about it was going to be the end of the world. The end of the world as in consciousness, the old way of thinking. We've moved into a new age. This age is the beginning of something very special. New children have been born that are gifted, have got psychic abilities and much more, because their DNA is activated on a higher level to what it was 50 years ago. These kids are geniuses coming in, these children. Rainbow children, indigo children, crystal children. If you've got a child who's different, who likes to line things up, is into dinosaurs, collecting things, they may have been labelled ADD, ADHD, on the spectrum, something like that, which, by the way, is birth trauma, generally. You might want to watch my other videos about that. Then you may have a crystal child, or an indigo child, or a rainbow child, as they call them. They're not going to be programmed by the normal education system. That's not how they're wired. I've spoken about the education system before, and we come out of school, more than 90% in our left brain, logic, learning, And the right brain, the intuitive, creative part of the brain, the feminine part of the brain, doesn't get all the attention it needs in mainstream education. So if you've got one of those children, they are different, but not in a bad way. They're gifted. They need nurturing. They need teaching differently. They're going to be attracted to things like crystals, animals, nature, stuff like that. So please think about what's going on in your world. What's going on out there that you'd like to change in the world? What's going on in your life that you'd like to change? What's going on in your health that you'd like to change? Your business, your relationships. All of these things are based on what you've got in your system, what you've inherited, any traumatic experiences you've been through. And by that, I'm talking about operations, accidents, divorces, abuse of any kind. All of these things leave their mark in our systems. And those marks, those wounds, are projected into the world around us. I specialise in helping people with trauma and PTSD, and it's very, very common. So think about what's going on. What's going on with you? What are you projecting into the world around you? Do you need help with it? Maybe it's time to find someone to help you. If this resonates with you, feel free to check out my website. There's a link below. But just remember this. You are powerful. And you're the captain of your ship. So the world that you're experiencing, whether it's in your personal space or whether it's something bigger out there, and you want to make a difference, this is the time to level up. On the 9th of September, I will be doing a big healing with the One Portal on my Patreon channel, and then the 10th of October, the 11th of November and the 12th of December. That's the way I've done it, and then 2 weeks after that, generally. But we've got a big shift coming up on September the 22nd, I think the equinox is this year, 2024. What happens then is a planetary alignment that allows frequencies, energies to come through into our reality, that come into our systems and activate higher levels of our DNA. So we start to remember who we truly are. And we're not just these little human beings walking around on this planet. We're huge spiritual beings with a soul essence that have come on missions. We're here with a purpose. Every single one of us has a purpose. It's up to us to discover it. And it could be, a massive purpose. Somebody becoming very famous and making a big difference in the world. It could be that your purpose is to be a bus driver and just be smiling at everyone that gets on and off your bus every day. Doesn't matter what the purpose is. It's how we go about that purpose, what we do with it, what we bring to the world, what we bring to everyone around us. But we've all got one. And these special children that are coming through are called light workers or star seeds, some of the names given to them. They're pathfinders, they're change makers. So if you think you're one of them and you haven't stepped into your power yet, or you haven't stepped into your purpose, now's the time. This next 18 months is a time on earth that is just so precious. 60% historical change on the planet. That's huge. So it's time to pick up the gauntlet. It's time to step into your future, into your potential, one step at a time. So thanks for joining me, guys. I know it's late, wherever you are in the world. And there's lots of other videos I've made on YouTube and my Instagram channel. Hopefully I'll speak to you again soon. Please do share this and remember to subscribe and like. It all helps the algorithms. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.